I think it's actually simpler than it seems. It's kind of like this. We sometimes think I'm useless, I'm worthless. People dislike me because I'm unattractive, or because there's something wrong with my appearance, or I don't deserve to be loved. Of course, what I'm about to say probably can't explain 100% of the truth, but I think this is one way of understanding it. Every human being has needs. So naturally, we tend to like people who fulfill those needs. For example, you might like someone because they're good looking or attractive. On the other hand, you might dislike someone but still try to please them just because they have money. You don't actually like the person, but you treat them well because you want something they can provide. But even when you dislike someone, there's probably a reason for it. Maybe you dislike their appearance or the way they speak. Maybe they have a way of subtly putting other people down. Or maybe they're actually a good person, but for some reason you still don't like them. That could come from some kind of insecurity or unmet need within you. Maybe they remind you of someone you used to dislike, or maybe there's just something about them that feels off. There could be many different reasons. So when you really think about it, being loved by someone may ultimately have something to do with that person's needs. It could be a temporary emotion in the moment, but it could also come from some deep, unconscious sense of lack. For example, let's say I like a beautiful woman. I might initially like her because she's beautiful, but if she has a terrible personality, I might start disliking her. If she also has a good personality, I might like her even more. And if she wants to date me or marry me, of course I'd like her even more. So in the end, we like people who can fulfill our needs. The question, am I someone worthy of love, may work the same way. Of course, appearance can be important. People might like me because I'm beautiful or handsome, but ultimately, maybe one of the main things that determines whether someone loves me is what I can provide for that person. For example, let's say I'm extremely devoted to my girlfriend. If she's someone who wants that kind of devotion, then she may love me more because of it. That's because the devotion I give her is something she wants from a partner. Anyway, I wonder if loving and being loved are ultimately based on things like this. I once heard someone say, when two people enter a relationship because of their emotional wounds or unmet needs, the relationship will inevitably end once one person's need has been resolved. At first, I thought that sounded extremely cold and cynical, but now I wonder whether this is what they meant. Two people may come together because each person needs something from the other. But once one person's unmet need has been resolved, they may no longer need what the other person was providing. They once wanted something from their partner, but now they don't need it anymore. And if that need disappears, the need for the person might disappear along with it. So perhaps love is ultimately connected to what we need from one another. Let's say I have a hamster. What does the hamster give me? Maybe it gives me a sense of affection or the feeling of having a family member. The same applies to cats and dogs. Don't we keep them because they fulfill some kind of emotional need within us? If they gave us absolutely nothing, why would we keep them? Then does that mean that if you want to be loved, you should fulfill the other person's needs? There's a Korean Buddhist monk named Venerable Pomnyun. He once said that we shouldn't turn ourselves into another person's slave. If I'm constantly changing myself and following all of my partner's demands in a relationship or marriage, How is that different from living like a slave? But it's not that simple either. There may be a reason why someone chooses to live that way. Maybe the other person has something they don't have, and they submit to that person because they want to receive it. This is honestly a difficult subject. I've also thought about the idea of pure love, loving someone without conditions and devoting yourself entirely to that person. But is it really possible to love and devote yourself to someone when you want absolutely nothing from them and receive absolutely nothing in return? I think that would be extremely difficult. In the case of my girlfriend, I'm not just her boyfriend, I'm also family to her. I'm part of her family now, and I could become her family in the future. That's why she has devoted herself to me almost unconditionally in a way. But if I weren't her family, and if she didn't see me as someone who might become her family, perhaps she wouldn't have devoted herself to me as much. She wouldn't have had the same reason to make that kind of commitment. So, yeah, that's all I want to say for now.